Let's talk about it.
Corsicana, Texas. What is going on? DFW, Houston, Texas. What's up? This is the Burning Coals podcast, and we are back for episode number 16. We're the Burning Coals podcast, and we say what needs to be said on the show tonight. I am your point guard. I am the host of the show. I go by the name of Mr. Know-It-All. And tonight, we have with us the special cast of the Burning Coals podcast, but we have Bougie Weirdo, B-Dub, the center of the show, B-Dub. We also have Gentleman Jamal, which he is on vacation right now, so he will possibly be able to join the show tonight. We also have EQ. She's definitely out and she's doing her thing as well with the show. I mean, with some personal things she has to go take care of us tonight as well. And we also have we want to give a shout out to Miss Queen. Miss Queen will no longer be on the show, but she will definitely be supporting the show behind the scenes in the comments section. Also, just showing her love and support for the show as well. And Miss Q, we just want to give you a great big old applause. And just saying thank you for being a part of the show. We definitely have some great and memorable moments, and we just appreciate you for your love and support and adulation for the show, and definitely showing your love and supporting us every chance you get. So we thank you for that, Miss Queen. B-Dub, like you and I, we're gonna be running the ship tonight.
Hey, it be like this sometimes. We got to hold it down for the crew though.
Right. Most definitely. But Gentleman Jamal said he's in North Dakota. I think he said he's going to Mount Rushmore to go and check out some sights and views there. And Gentleman Jamal, man, hey man, have your good time, brother. We wish you was there with you, man. Definitely check out the Mount Rushmore. And every time I hear about Mount Rushmore, Bougie Widow, B-Dub, it makes me think about like the Mount Rushmore of like any type of sport or something, like somebody what's your Mount Rushmore of basketball players or running backs or whatever. So that's what I think about all the time when you start talking about Mount Rushmores.
Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of people. Like I think people don't even think about the actual Mount Rushmore anymore. I think you're right. People usually attribute it to sports or something like that.
Yeah,
the Mount Rushmore of rappers or R&B singers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Your Mount Rushmore presidents or whatever. Just basically your top 5 or top 6 of
basically.
People. Yeah. That's what it is. So, but anyway, but B-Dub, man, how's your Tuesday morning going, my friend? How's everything going?
Oh man, it's going great. I ain't never got no complaints. Life is good over here.
Yeah.
If I'm alive, life is good.
Right. You and me both, my friend. You and me both, kinfolk. You pretty close to the due date, man.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
They October the 15th is allegedly the day, but I'm seeing him coming a little sooner. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it's going well. Everything's good. So
right. That's
whenever he's ready.
Right. Oh man, that's a blessing there, brother. That's a blessing. Hey, if y'all haven't known, me and B-Dub, we're related. We are cousins. So our grandfathers are brothers. So me and B-Dub, we went to school with each other. We lived on East 10th. Back in the other days, man, East 10th, man, where it was hopping. It was hopping every time on East 10th. Hey, B-Dub, before we get any further, man, do you remember on East 10th, you remember Merck and them live behind us had the crazy dog named Coco?
I knew you was going to say that. Hey, who was it? Wasn't one of y'all, you or one of your brothers came through on a bike one time and that big red dog was chasing y'all?
Yeah, man, we always used to do that, man. Yeah, Coco she used to live up under the house, man. She come out, man. She always get an angle at us when we come around that curve, man. Yeah. So man, it was some good times there, man. Great
Yes,
time.
sir.
Yep, yep. Hey, Monique, we got some people in the comment section already. Monique Smith saying good evening, y'all, and good evening to you, Miss Monique. So
What's
listen,
up?
go yes, Miss, yes, yes, yes. What's up? What's up? What's up? So um, before we get to the show, we want to definitely let you guys know, hey, we appreciate you guys for joining the Burning Coals podcast. We thank you for your love, your support, your adulation as well. If you can, if you have not subscribed to the Burning Coals podcast, make sure you hit that subscription button. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you share the content as well, because that is how we're able to grow this thing tonight. I mean, tonight and moving forward as well. So, but that give us an idea of saying, hey, you know what, we like the guy, we love you guys' content, and that definitely that's more valuable than money. But you see in the comment section, you can also put your comments there if you want to be able to talk with us and interact with us tonight. You can put your comment section, could put your comments in the comment section there, and also you'll see at the very top where we there's some StreamYard streams that you want to be able to come onto the show. You can just actually go to the either the Facebook one or the YouTube one, and you can definitely be able to come into the show like that. We'll let you in, but once you do that, you gotta definitely be very, very civil, no cursing, nothing like that, because we have to boot you out of the show. Saying we definitely don't want to do that. Okay. So that being said, we're gonna definitely get into the topics of the conversation and let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I wanna talk about it. Let's talk about it.
You see it. You see it. We're talking about the Brett Favre welfare fraud scam. See, and this is a hot trending topic right now, is because ESPN and a lot of these four-letter networks are getting a lot of backlash, a lot of fire, because they are not addressing everything that's going on with this Brett Favre scam. And you know how it is with these athletes. And one particular subject that was on my mind, and one particular subject I had thought about is, remember when those athletes, we're talking about Clinton Portis, Joe Horn, and a bunch of those athletes got caught up in the healthcare benefit scam, and all those guys, that was a government thing that they all got involved with, but those guys was found guilty of that, and so a lot of those guys did some prison time behind that as well, and jail time and probation and so on and so forth and whatnot. But ESPN, NFL Network, you name it, all these four-letter networks had blasted these guys over this, and it was just you know how they do B-Dub when it comes to black athletes. They will blast you all over the place. But for this whole Brett Favre thing, and we're gonna get into more detail about everything that's going on with the Brett Favre scam and whatnot. But NFL and ESPN, the four-letter networks, are trying to cover this up. How did you feel about that, B-Dub?
Well, I mean, first of all, we gotta so people are not confused, because tonight we were supposed to continue discussion on the $1 million slaves, and so how does this play in? Exactly what you said. This is part of that slave master slave mentality, because anything that happens with a black athlete is national news, and they gotta try to make an example out of them and do this and do that. And but here we go with this white athlete, and Brett Favre, for all he did on the field, will never be able to take away what he did on the field. Brett Favre, I like Brett Favre. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks. On the field, off the field though, this is not necessarily something new, because like little things have come up here and there, but like you said, they never talk about it. They never talked about the quote unquote sex scandal where he was sending some illicit text messages to this jet cheerleader or personnel or whoever she was. They hurried up and shoot that on out. They didn't bring that up at his Hall of Fame speech. But you
Nope.
know,
it's not.
when all these other guys come up for Hall of Fame, Randy Moss, T.O., and guys like that, you know, they want to talk about the off-field stuff and this and that, and none of those guys have done anything to this degree. We're just talking about personalities. Like T.O. just had a strong personality. He never did anything criminal at all.
Right.
But because he had a strong personality, he had to wait a few years to get into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
But with Brett Favre, like you said, they cover it up. They never talk about it. And even now, it's so bad to the point now where Shannon Sharp spoke about it, which we'll get to that in a minute.
Right.
And Shannon Sharp spoke very openly about it and had some very strong opinions about it.
Right.
And people started coming at him.
Right.
Dan Patrick on his show was kind of he didn't necessarily come at Shannon, but he was just kind of trying to downplay it and putting more emphasis on what Shannon said and how he said it versus what he was actually talking about.
Correct.
Which was the fraud. Like, we're talking about fraud. And you know, and it's a lot involved in that, man. But this is crazy. Like, I'm telling you right now, I look at Brett Favre a completely different way. I really don't, you know, care to talk about Brett Favre after tonight. I don't care to talk about Brett Favre anymore because no matter what he did on the field and all of that stuff, this right here is bottom of the barrel.
Right.
This is bottom of the, like I would have been better with Brett Favre if he had gotten into a bar fight and beat somebody and put him in a hospital than to steal money from poor people.
Right, and that's that's right, B-Dub. And then not even that, like you said, from poor people. We're talking about the state of Mississippi, where right now it's one of the poorest states in the country.
No. The poorest.
Yeah, right, correct. The poorest state in the country, all right? And right now they're going through a whole water crisis. People don't have no clean water there, B-Dub, you know, no clean water. People are trying to make ends meet. Even Deion Sanders, you know, he's trying to respect the whole community of Jackson, Mississippi, with the whole water crisis and things like that and whatnot, man, you know, and he's been open and vocal about it as well, saying, listen, look, we are only athletes. You know, I understand my community is in shambles right now. And, you know, he's trying to do what he can to savage everything. But here it is, Brett Favre, along with the former governor of Mississippi, these two have a different type of agenda, and they are taken away from poor folks, man. And just like Shannon Sharp said to Skip Bayless, and when you watch the video, you can really see how uncomfortable Skip Bayless is because of how passionate Shannon Sharp is about this situation, because Shannon Sharp chose to use words like greedy, nasty, those people, and he was talking about non-melanated people when he said that. And I believe that's where a lot of these you know, high executive folks at these other networks.
Let's go ahead and jump into that real quick.
We jump into it. Let's get into it now, you guys. So you guys checking out, see what we're talking about here. We go ahead and get into it.
An investigation by Mississippi Today found that Brett Favre, along with the help of a former Mississippi governor, obtained welfare funds to help build a new volleyball center at the University of Southern Mississippi. Shannon, how much do you think this could tarnish Brett Favre's legacy?
Well, I don't think none can tarnish it, because if you go back and look at his history when he played in the NFL, it should have tarnished it already. I talked to people that was in the room when Brett Favre went to the Hall of Fame, and nobody mentioned about text messages that he sent to that jet masseuse. Nobody mentioned anything about the addiction that he suffered from. But yet T.O., they brought up everything. Can you imagine if T.O. would have had an incidents like Brett Favre off the field? T.O. still, to this day right now, would not be in the Hall of Fame. Yet they walked right past it like Brett Favre did nothing. Mississippi is the poorest state in our country.
It is.
Its citizens. So if they're the poorest state, Brett Favre is taken from the underserved. And they're talking about what he didn't know. This is what Brett Favre texted. If you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much? So if you got to ask this question, is there any way the media can find out? You already know you're doing something wrong. He wanted to seem so philanthropic. He wanted to change the perception of the narrative. He take money for some damn volleyball arena.
Well, his
daughter played. You see what Brett Favre did for his alma mater? No, he didn't get no money came out of his pocket. He stole money from people that really needed that money.
Yep.
Man, this is embarrassing. And he's not the only one. Ted DiBiase, a former wrestler, even Marcus Dupree, a great running back at the school that you loved growing up, Oklahoma. He got money. How can you got to be really low to take from the poorest of the poor?
Wow. And see, and that's what they don't like when you have someone with a strong opinion like Shannon Sharp, who brings that passion to what he says, and he's telling the truth, B-Dub.
The whole
And
truth and
sometimes
nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth. And sometimes, you know what? Some people would rather hear a beautiful lie than an ugly truth. And when this man has said what he said about what was going on, they want to, you know, they everybody is going after him instead of going after Brett Favre for what he did. You know,
Exactly.
it just and that's not adding up, and it don't set well at all, because y'all need to go after Brett Favre, and who you guys have pacified this guy's behavior. He's been showing you the guys this, you know, how he is.
But that's what they do, man. That's what they do. This is nothing new. This is part of the plantation mentality. They gonna protect their own, and they'll throw us under the bus in a heartbeat. And use words. If I promise you, if Brett Favre was black, they would be using words like thug and degenerate. They would use all kind of dirty words, and basically putting him on trial. But because it's Brett Favre, this is the other narrative too, or not narrative, but this is other excuses people are making. Oh well, technically he didn't commit a crime. He didn't steal the money. The money was given to him. No, the money was misappropriated, which is another word for stolen. Because if I have money and this money is supposed to go here for this person and I give it to that person, that's stealing.
It is.
And they used the guise of him doing speeches. So they was allegedly giving him the money, paid him $1 million to do these speeches, but that he never done, and there was never no plan to do.
Right.
And then when he found out, like I said, after when he started feeling the heat, then he tried to move the money and say, "Oh, well, we're gonna build this gymnasium, this volleyball gymnasium, to try to make it look like he did something great when he didn't." That money was for poor people.
Right.
It came directly out of the welfare system funds.
Right.
That the mayor, the former mayor, whatever, all these people that colluded into this, because they are part of it too.
They are.
Took money. Brett not the only one that got money. He got money from it. Other people got hundreds of thousands of dollars, a couple $1 million out of all of the people got took out of this fund for the welfare system.
Right.
And it's crazy, is low, and he can't. There's no denying it, because the text message right there, just like Shannon. If you gotta ask the question, you already know what you doing.
Right.
Is not right.
Right.
Like my grandmother used to tell me, if you can't talk about it out loud, you don't need to be doing it.
Correct.
So, you know, you backdoor texting, hey, is there any way the media could... Well, what are you doing that you don't want the media to find out? Stealing money from poor people. And let's be real, stealing money from black people.
That's what it is. B-Dub, you hit the nail on the head, B-Dub. You stealing from black people. And you know what, B-Dub? If the government don't get involved with this and do something about this, I can see this whole thing spiraling out of control, because like you said, if these athletes, if Brett Favre was a black athlete, they'll max him out on something like this. You know, they will max him out something like this or whatever, and everybody's going to definitely hear it.
I can't remember his name right now. The receiver from Atlanta, but he was injured, so he wasn't even playing. He was injured, and while he was injured and he was off on injury leave or whatever, he bet on a football game. Bet on the Falcons, even though he wasn't playing. Had no control over the game.
Ridley.
There you go.
Yeah, Ridley. Yeah.
A year. Suspended him for a whole year. Banned him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When there was no possible scenario that he could have had any influence on the game whatsoever. I can't play right now. I'm in my off season. I wasn't technically kind of in the off season because I'm not playing. I'm not going to practice. I'm gonna make a bet on this game right here or whatever. And they banned him for a whole year. Right. So in my mind, with Brett Favre doing this, I should never see Brett Favre face on the NFL Network ever again.
But here's the thing, though, B-Dub.
I shouldn't see him at no NFL events. When they talk about the Hall of Fame or whatever they talk about, they better skip over him.
Well, B-Dub, but that's the thing about it, B-Dub, because they're saying that Brett Favre, just because of who he is, he has a lot of ties in the four-letter network with the NFL network, with ESPN, and that's the reason why they're keeping everything on the low.
Them ties better get broken real quick.
I agree. And then I think they're trying to find a way to make this thing not big and try to show him some type of immunity. Is because he got some elected officials tied to it as well, with the former governor and so on and so forth. What that means, they're trying to find all kinds of ways to kind of cover this thing up because he's going to implicate a lot of people involved in it. What's that?
When you talk about politicians and government officials, you don't know how far that ripple goes.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean I get it, and you might be right, but I'm just saying this is what should happen if the NFL want to do right, if the government want to do right, if anybody that's in control of this situation want to do right, that's what the outcome should be. We should no longer see Brett Favre face ever again on anything that got anything to do with the NFL. When they talk about the Patriots and during the Aaron Hernandez years, watch them videos. You don't see Aaron Hernandez in them videos nowhere, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Right.
They chopped him out of everything. They don't discuss it. You would think that this man never played for that team. It should be the same way for Brett Favre. Anything that got to do with the Packers from the 90s into the early 2000s, he should be edited out of everything. Right. That's the way I feel about it. Because if you're gonna be so hard on these other athletes, then you should be equally as hard on Brett Favre.
Right. And B-Dub, it wouldn't surprise me if the NCAA, because it wouldn't surprise me that the school that Brett Favre gave the money to, I think his daughter played on the volleyball team that was
correct
there. All right. It wouldn't surprise me if they come out because they're gonna try to investigate it, but I think they're gonna cover everything up though, B-Dub, because it's a ripple effect, man. It's going to get a lot of folks who are going to be implicated in this whole thing, other than Brett Favre and the former governor. Is going to go, they're going to follow that rabbit hole or whatever if they can get to it. But B-Dub, I just think that I think it's going to end up dying down, and they're going to find a way to try to remove this whole thing, because that's just how it is, man. They don't want to implicate a lot of people.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
It's not looking good, B-Dub. Not at all. There go EQ. Hold on, EQ coming in. EQ, what's going on, EQ?
Hi, what's up, y'all? Sorry for my tardiness.
No,
baby, I was trying to get home.
Nah, you good.
I had to jump in the
suspension.
Baby, I had to jump in the shower right quick. I had to get fresh for the show.
Right.
Don't suspend me.
EQ, so we were just talking about the whole Brett Favre thing, for him stealing that money from Mississippi, the welfare fraud scheme, the welfare fraud scheme that Brett Favre is in. He's an ex-football Hall of Famer, been stealing welfare money from the poor folks. Him and the governor allegedly been stealing money from the poor folks, and they end up doing a lot of stuff with the money, with putting the money into Brett Favre's alma mater, which is a Mississippi Valley or something like that.
I think Mississippi State or one of them, University of Mississippi.
Well, it's one of them.
But what he's stealing for anyway? He got money. He don't need to be stealing.
Exactly.
Greed.
Correct. So he he did all this, and now NFL Network, ESPN, all these four-letter networks that have some affiliation with Brett Favre, they are trying to keep this thing on the hush-hush. But Shannon Sharp, which is an ex-football player, Stephen A. Smith, which I'm surprised that he even got involved in trying to say anything about anything. But they are vocal about it, saying, listen, if he was a black athlete, for a fact that we will be running shows about this, doing reruns and doing a whole week of bashing this athlete if he was black. But since he's white, you guys want to cover this up. And Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the country, and he is stealing money from welfare recipients with his black people. And that's the reason why I say that's another reason why that they're going to clean this thing up on the road, because it happened to a lot of black folks. What do you think about that, EQ?
It's sad. like you said, that's already a poor state. People are already struggling. I think in Jackson, they don't even have clean water to drink.
Right.
And I'm sure the per capita income in certain areas, well, probably the whole state is way below the national, even others, the national level. And so to have somebody who's deemed as a role model or a celebrity to come in with the governor and rob these people of this money or whatever. I mean, come on, it's like, the more those people try to take 2 steps forward, only to get knocked 3 steps back,
Right.
and just because he hold the celebrity title, whether he was a football player, rapper, or whatever, he should be punished to the highest degree of the law, him and the governor, because
Right.
what was the purpose of y'all stealing? And then also, this is nothing new, you know, this is
Right.
nothing new. I'm sorry, this is nothing new. So
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I
Right.
don't get it.
Right. Right. And you know what? But and like B Dub said earlier, it's all centered around greed. EQ. It's all centered around greed, and I can do it because I can do it, and also because of who he is, his celebrity status, and also because he has some affiliation with with these politicians, and there's some more people that's probably going to be implicated in this whole thing if they choose to go down that rabbit hole. But that's the reason why they do it, and it's like you said, it's another thing of us, people that's poor, lower class people, taking 2 steps forward and taking 3 steps back because they can definitely get away with it. And me personally, I really believe and feel in my heart of hearts that they're going to find a way to get rid of this thing, to cover it up and act like it never existed. They might do something with Brett Favre, just remove him from the commercials and stuff like that. But eventually, they'll end up bringing him back because that's what they do. But it's the hypocrisy of everything that's going on with this Brett Favre, because there was a
Right.
bunch of black athletes about 4 or 5 years ago that was involved in a healthcare scam. It's like 12 to 14 ex NFL players was involved in the NFL healthcare program scam, and a lot
Uh-huh.
of those guys end up getting some jail time, prison time,
Oh,
probation, and
wow.
everything like that. Yeah. So,
Uh-huh.
but here's the
Uh-huh.
thing though, EQ, the NFL, ESPN, these four-letter networks, they were
Uh-huh.
rotating the story about these guys, and they wouldn't get
Wow.
off of it, but they won't put the same energy into Brett Favre, and that's the reason why.
Absolutely. He's
Yeah.
no, no. I mean, there's two types of laws. There's laws for them and there's laws for us.
Right,
And unfortunately, the penalty that we have to pay is a harsher penalty than what they pay.
right,
See, Brett Favre have money. He has money. Him and the governor, they have money. They can make this disappear. They can make this go away. Whereas those poor people in Mississippi, how can they fight back, or how can they, the courts are not going to rule in their favor. I mean,
right,
we're talking Mississippi, one of the
right,
poorest states in the nation. So, and it's just
The
unfair, and it's
poorest.
just why the poorest.
right,
Yeah, absolutely. So,
right,
I don't get it. Why did you choose Mississippi? Why you didn't go up to Martha's Vineyard?
Mm.
Why you
right,
didn't go to some other well-to-do area? You know what I'm saying? But you have to pick on people who are already impoverished. In
right.
what world is that right?
Right, right. EQ, and those are some great points there as well. And you know for a fact he couldn't go to the Martha's Vineyard with nothing like that. He knew that. Yeah, so
See what
that's
I'm
the reason why
saying?
they do what they do. So, it is what it is. And I hope everything works out in the whole, the state of Mississippi that was affected by it, because they are victims in this, because they're taken away from a class of people just because of your greed and what you got going on, and because you can definitely do it. And I hope that
Mhm.
something happens out of all this and that they don't sweep this under the rug. And I pray that not only we are talking about it, but also other people that's got podcasts and everybody else talking about it as well, because
Mhm.
stories like this need to be pushed out there. If ESPN or all these other networks don't want to say anything or do anything about it or bring it up, it's up to the general masses, the people that's have a voice and platform to speak about it, let people know that we are definitely knowing what's going on and we are definitely engaged as well. So that's what I'm going. That's what I pray that definitely happens.
EQ. Tell your sugar daddy you busy right now.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next subject. We're gonna go ahead and talk about are the athletes $1 million slaves. We're gonna do this is a part two of the part one scenario of the show that we did last Tuesday, and we felt that we had to touch the Brett Favre situation because it was a hot trending topic. So we wanted to go ahead and discuss that. But before we get to this next question on athletes multi-million-dollar slaves part two, we want to tell you, please make sure you go to the Burning Coals podcast on YouTube, subscribe there, hit the notification bell, hit the share button as well, and let everybody know exactly where to go for nice and fire content. We go live on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. We have a comment section. If you want to comment on anything that we're talking about discussing, please feel free to get into the comment section as well. And also, we do have a live call in. We have the StreamYard link at the top. There's a Facebook one, and there's a YouTube link at the top. If you want to join in the show and listen to us, or ask a question on the show, feel free to hit that. We'll definitely bring you in. You can ask your questions, give you a shout out, do that, but definitely be civil, okay? So, our athletes, multi-million-dollar slaves. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play the video first, and then we're going to talk. We're gonna give you our commentary about what's going on. We'll talk about it. All right, here we go.
They're going to say, oh, Lamar doesn't have an agent. I remember he was coming out for the draft, and they were like, well, he's hard to get in contact with. No, he's not. His mama's representing him. You want to contact anybody, you could call a mama. He ain't hard to find. What it is he's not traditionally paying the system to get him paid. He's bypassing it. I'm going to be on the phone to talk about my money and my career. And they don't like that. They hate that. And that's why he's going into a season as a former MVP without a deal.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, how many games he won for the Browns?
0. Can't play the first 12.
Most money ever for a quarterback.
And the deal's backloaded. So this year he gets $1 million salary.
They're going to take care of him because he's talented.
Yep.
Is the point. Lamar's already shown us that. But since he's not feeding the system, it's a little tougher for him to get his bread. And so that's what I learned, is that even if you're unorthodox and you're not necessarily just like, yes, okay, then it can be a little more turbulent. But you need to stand on the table about your life, your business, because we only have one.
Wow, that was a good video, and it tells you exactly the mindset of the NFL and how they want to be able to control every aspect of your life when it comes down to picking your agent, when it comes down to if you want to represent yourself, especially if you are black. If you were white, it wouldn't be no issue. But if you are melanated skin and got melanin in your skin and whatnot, you want to represent yourself and you're not playing the NFL game, they want to find a way to mess with your money, blackball you, and so on and so forth and whatnot, which in actuality, it does make you part, being a $1 million slave. That's part of the program. And it's very unfortunate.
Yep, because you're control. You have the money, but you have no control over your life. Because let's think about this. In actual, real, physical slavery, there were some slaves that got paid. A little bit of change here and there. But you still in bondage. You still
That's
get
right.
punished and whipped if you get out of line. So it's and DeAndre Hopkins and Lamar Jackson are setting a precedent, because what these guys are starting to learn is if you got a certain amount of talent, the money's automatic.
Right.
So I don't need an agent.
Right.
Because I know that I'm here as far as the talent pool, so the money's gonna be there. All I need is for us to figure it out. That's why I said, I said it before. That's why I stopped watching the draft. Years ago, I stopped watching the draft. To me, that's the saddest show on TV, because you see it. You see these young, unknowing men getting fed into this system, and you know what's gonna happen. They come in.
Wow.
they do the pre-draft shows where they show the guys, and you got the agents tell, oh, hey, you got to look good for the draft. I'm gonna send you over here, so you're gonna send them over here. Don't even worry about it. So now you done went over here, and this guy done put you in a nice tailor-made suit, ain't asked you for no money.
Yep.
And this, you go over here, and this guy gonna get you the Rolex and oh man, you got to look good for the draft, and we. When you come from nothing, you don't know no better. Ain't nobody ever taught you nothing.
Right.
You don't know no better. Because you look at that and you look in comparison to the athletes that grew up in a 2-parent home, and this goes for whatever race, but mostly it's the poor single parent kids that fall for the trap. But whether you black, white, or whatever, when you look at the middle class, upper class players that came from a 2-parent home that understand money or whatever, most of them are usually at home. They at home with the family chilling. Like, I don't need to be at the draft. If I get drafted, I'm gonna get drafted. And when it happens, everybody's happy. Like, ooh, high five, okay, we going to this team, cool, everybody's happy. But when you see them poor black kids get drafted, it's a whole show. People is crying, falling out, like, oh my God, Jesus that came to save us. And it's heartbreaking because in 5 to 6 years, that kid gonna be right back at home broke again.
Right. Yep.
They're gonna bring him into the system. They're gonna use him for whatever they can use him for to make money for their team. And when they done with him, they're gonna throw him out on the streets. And because he don't know nothing, because he don't understand money, because he thinks that he just signed a $20 million deal, when in reality he signed a $5 million deal, and he done spent $30 million. So by the time it's all said and done, he gonna be $10-15 million in debt.
Right. That's the NFL cycle for you, B-Dub. That's the NFL cycle for you. And B-Dub, because it's like the NFL, they have a pool of agents that they deal with, and they send them the top elites of the elite athletes that go to them. So NFL, if you're not into that pool of agents that they have available, and you're not playing that game whatnot, man, down, they give you, they don't really want to deal with you whatnot. But everything that's going on with Lamar Jackson, and I pray that brother get his money, because he's a very talented individual. And
he gonna get his money.
Yeah, he gonna definitely get it. He gonna get it, but they giving him a hard time about it, and it sucked that he has to go through that because he don't want to play these NFL games.
Because, like I said, look at D Hop, and he's not the first one, but it's been a long while since we've kind of seen this player, being their own agent. And you look at D Hop and the deal he got a real good deal for a wide receiver and everything. So now Lamar, they gonna give him a hard time, because if Lamar go get a big major deal, which he's gonna eventually get, because think about this, like Jalen Rose said, this kid is young in his career. He's already won an MVP. He's already shown you his talent level. Why is he even in his final contract year? He shouldn't even made it to this point. They should have re-signed him last year, 2 years ago. Locked him in long term, but they let his contract ride out because they're gonna make it difficult. They're gonna make him sweat because they don't want no other slaves getting no ideas and thinking, oh, you know what, I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna do my own.
They want to get right.
Now the money starts getting cut out of the loop.
Right. That's the reason why, man. They say, man, if D Hop is doing it, Lamar Jackson is doing it, he's setting a trend. He's trailblazing for the next coming athletes to say, nah, we ain't. Nah, y'all just, we picking up on what you guys are doing. We ain't finna get involved with no agents no more. Like you said, the money flow stop. NFL they want to get every penny they can out of these youngsters, because they know for a fact a lot of these youngsters don't really know the game like that. And you know what? Yo, go ahead, B-Dub.
I was just gonna say, I mean, cut you off, but if these athletes, so if that's not working, they give them Lamar a hard time, they give the next one a hard time. You know what the next step is? What they can do? Say, okay, go to Rosenhaus Sports, right? But say, you know what? Listen, go find that brother that's like an assistant, agent or whatever. He know the business, but he's small on the totem pole, and say, hey, listen here, bro, quit your job. Don't even worry about it. And all these athletes coming in like, hey, you want to sign me? Talk to him.
Yeah.
Now you create a black powerhouse sports agency. Now you got somewhere to go where somebody's going to take care of you and look out for you.
Right.
That we could do that too.
It'd be nice if Deion Sanders would, because he always brings celebrities and different guests inside the locker room to to do a motivational talk with his team. Won't you bring in some a black agent, a black sports agent, or somebody like that? Bring those guys into the front of the team and explain to them what the next, if they're going to go into the NFL level, explain to them how everything work out. And maybe actually at the same time, have somebody to, he can say, hey, look, I can even represent you guys. Do something, you know what I mean? Instead of having
that's not a bad idea, but Deion can't do it by himself though.
No, he
but
can't.
At some point, but that's exactly what we need. We need some type of education somewhere on some level. We need to get in front of these kids before and start teaching them so they understand, the process and how it go. And hopefully we'll get there. But right now, man, this just a machine that and it's sad. But at the same time, it's like, okay, we watch it. So what does that say about us? But it is what it is. All we can do is hope that some of them get some type of understanding, or at least get to a second contract. Because you know what? A lot of times, what happens, that first contract is the one that messes them up.
Yep.
But if they good enough to get to a second contract, usually by then they've learned now, because they done signed that $20 million deal, and here they come 4 years later, $10 million in debt, and it's like, what the heck is going on? It's like, okay, I got to figure this out. So then when they get their next deal, they usually are a little bit smarter with their money. But the problem, unfortunately, 60% of athletes never make it to that next deal.
Right.
They one and done.
Right. And then next thing you know, that's when they, because like you said, B-Dub, they don't really know too much. They're not really business savvy, because football and sports, and they're being catered to, that's all they know. And now, you end up like, Clinton Portis and all these other guys who was involved in that scam. They finding ways of trying to survive, man, and, that's very unfortunate. But at the end of the day, that's just, that's how, NFL, that's how business is done, in the league and especially in our community as well. So, it's very unfortunate. So, speaking of, last Tuesday, we were talking about Jay-Z. All right. Now, Jay-Z, he does have, he's affiliated with the NFL as well. And he does have a sports agency group called Rock Nation. Did you know that, B-Dub?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He's heavily involved in the NFL. So what we're going to do is we're going to play this video by Jay-Z, because this has to do with him and I believe it's Colin Kaepernick, B-Dub.
Yeah, it's more so the Young Turks. I don't know if you're familiar with the website. It used to be a good YouTube channel. Now it's gone super left and liberal. So he probably gonna make a lot of points that you might agree with. But anyway, this guy's just breaking down the whole situation and from both sides of it.
Right. From the Colin Kaepernick and the Jay-Z being involved.
Between Cap and Jay-Z, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going to play the show, and then we're going to definitely come back and talk with you guys about it.
The next thing, right, because there's two parts of protesting.
Action to sit was later lifted to taking a knee.
It was like actionable item. What are we going to do with it?
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
What are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So, reach millions and millions of people, or we get stuck on Colin not having a job. What?
Did you kneel in what you stand?
Okay. I think we've passed kneeling.
Did we solve police brutality? Another component, as Kiara Kelly wrote, I really didn't like how Jay-Z said we are beyond actionable items. First actionable item. You shouldn't lose your job for exercising your First Amendment right. Still, what changed for Hope?
If you were his sports agent Jay-Z is the sports agent for Colin Kaepernick. And before this all happened, he came to you and said, I want to do this. Would you have said, do it, don't do it? What would you have counseled the brother?
Oh, 100% do it.
He said this to Van Jones, CNN anchor, also under the Rock Nation umbrella. On Saturday Night Live, Jay wore the limited edition I Stand With Cap Nike jersey. At a Miami concert in 2017, he told the audience, I want y'all to understand, when people are kneeling and putting their fists up in the air and doing what they're doing, it's not about the flag, it's about justice. It's about injustice. And that's not a black or white thing, it's a human issue.
I don't knock what he's doing, and hopefully he doesn't knock what I'm doing.
Have you talked to him about bringing him into this project?
Oh, we had a conversation.
Let's pause here. There has been no one more forthright in helping serve the people than Cap and the First Lady of the movement, Nessa Diab. So when Nessa says Colin never spoke to Jay ahead of that big deal being done, and they never included him in any discussion, then on top of which Cap's attorney Mark Garagos reaffirmed to TMZ, Jay's team tried putting out the fire. But Jamil Hill wrote, a source close to Kaepernick speaking on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the topic told me it was not a good conversation. Another portion struck a nerve.
I think everyone knows what the issue is. Everyone knows what you know what the issue is? You know why we were kneeling? Okay, do you know the issue? Yeah, do you know the issue? Yes?
We all know what the issue was, but what Hove is about to do is unjust.
How are we going to stop? Because the kneeling was not about a job. It was about injustice. Let me bring attention to injustice. Everyone's saying, how are you going forward and Cap doesn't have a job? This wasn't about him having a job.
To split the entire movement in two, as Jay does here, when the face of the entire movement was kicked out, is an injustice.
If Jay-Z decides to collaborate with the NFL and use the strong arm of the NFL to impact communities, disenfranchised communities throughout our nation in a very, very positive way, then excuse me, wasn't that the goal that Colin Kaepernick had?
These are the talking points. Remember them. Memorize them. These are the naysayers to the broker deal, and it's a shame Stephen A. Smith is at this forefront. As Eric Reed writes, we never advocated for Colin to lose his job while we fought against systemic oppression. That's unjust, and where the NFL inserted itself into this. Now the NFL is championing social justice to cover their own systemic oppression and blackballing Colin. So we will fight to get Colin's job back as well. Jay-Z knowingly made a money move with the very people who have committed an injustice against Colin and is using social justice to smooth it over with the black community. Jamil Hill wrote, it doesn't matter whom the NFL partners with or how much money it pours into social justice causes. The league's actions come off as disingenuous because Cap remains unemployed as a result of a peaceful protest.
So there it is. Beat up. That was another.
So I'm sure you like that. I'm sure you like that. But listen, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Beat up. Okay. Here's the problem that I have with this. All right. Okay. Number one, I don't like the fact how NFL, and I said it the last show, beat up. I don't like how the NFL knew when they got in. It's like insurance. Okay. You don't need insurance until you need insurance. Right. All right. The NFL did not have no insurance when it came to this whole Kaepernick kneeling thing, all right? Now, once Kaepernick started kneeling and they getting some, they're getting, this thing is turning into a big fire now. Now they want to get some insurance and say, hey, look, Jay-Z, we need some insurance here, all right? We need for you to come in, do what you do. And I'm sure for a fact, I ain't gonna say for a fact, I ain't gonna say I'm sure, but I would suspect that Jay-Z said, okay, you know what? I don't mind coming in, but what is it in it for me? Because Jay-Z don't strike me as a kind of guy who just going to say, I'm going to provide my services to you to help you out without something being involved in it for him. And I believe that with him getting involved with it, they say, yes, we'll be affiliated with you, Jay-Z. And I believe that's how he ended up getting his foot into the door with the whole Rock Nation sports agency stuff or whatnot. But I don't agree with how the NFL handled everything. And then on Jay-Z's end, he seems like he was blowing which way the wind blew. Okay, I'm for Kaepernick when they ask him when he's away from the NFL elites and the table from those guys. But then when he's in front of the elites, he's not taking no stand up for Kaepernick, and he's trying to take it because I thought that was very reckless for him to say this is not about Colin Kaepernick's kneeling, him kneeling. It's about police brutality. That's a double-edged sword there. It's about both of them. You can't take light out of one or the other. And I think with him saying what he said at that meeting, saying that it's not about it's not about the kneeling, and then backdoor and say, well, yeah, I'll support Colin Kaepernick and put on his jersey and all that. That's being snakish and that's being two-faced. And I don't like that at all. Stand for a cause. Don't be straddling the fence and decide, if you for Cap, and what he did, hey, tell it to the NFL, you know what? Yeah, right now, Colin did what he did. He did not have no plan because at that particular time, sometimes when you get emotional or you get passionate or you get upset or angry, you're not going to have a plan of attack right at that moment, And I just think that he could have went about that a different kind of way, B-Dub. That's how I feel about it. You go ahead, my friend.
Okay.
I'm just sitting here listening like, okay, Colin. Hey, I'm just here.
No, go ahead, EQ. He go ahead. Beat up. Go ahead.
So, first question. Jay, you said that the NFL reached out to Jay-Z and Jay-Z said, all right, I'm going to help y'all out if y'all do something for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not quid pro quo? What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with it.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with it.
So, because you mentioned it, that's why I'm asking the question, because you mentioned it. And you're not the only one. A lot of people who feel how you feel say the same thing. Oh, he trying to get something out of it. And I always ask the question, yeah, so what?
Right.
Would you rather him came in and did it for free and got nothing out of it? Would that make it then that would make him a token. If he came in and got nothing out of it, that would make him a token. Like if he just came in and said, oh, black people cool out, chill, it's your boy, and got nothing out of it. Like, no, I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Business, yeah. Uh-huh.
And he did a business deal that he felt was good for both sides. But here's the thing, though, right? So you talked about Kaepernick not having a job. The guy in the video talked about Kaepernick. Everybody talked about Kaepernick not having a job. But is that what he was kneeling for? Was he kneeling for a job? No. He was kneeling for social injustice. So is social injustice not the number one priority? So on the one hand, you got, okay, Jay-Z comes into play. They do this music Rock Nation deal. We all know that was a front. The music deal was just a front to get him behind NFL closed doors, to get him on the side of Goodell as his,
This is what?
What you call it? Consultant. There you go. To help fix the situation. This is the issue I have. This is why I always ask.
You said consultant?
I see what you did there. But listen, it's not gonna work, son. It's not gonna work. Because like I said last week, everything has to come with some type of compromise. And the best deals usually come close to the middle where both sides get most of what they want. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's the reality of the situation. So Hove got the NFL. And listen, I also have to ask this question. Let's assume that Colin did succeed. Let's assume that he did succeed, and because of what he did, and because of what's going on in the world, and what everybody's saying, the NFL said, you know what, we not right. We got to fix this thing. And so they go and do this. Well, is that not what we wanted? But even if, let's say the opposite. Let's say they still don't give a shit. And they are just trying to cover up and save money. Okay, Jay-Z was able to get them to commit to hundreds of millions of dollars for black causes that helps serve black people. So is that not still a win? So they get to keep their ratings or whatever, and black people keep watching football or whatever. The ones who, even though I think people's gonna watch football regardless. But okay, they get to save face and look good and say we're doing something for social injustice. Whether they really believe it or not, it's happening.
What's
right?
happening again, B-Dub? What's happening? Say it again. What's happening?
They're contributing and helping social injustice causes.
Okay.
That's what we wanted. Who cares if they're sincere or not? What we wanted was for the NFL to do better, and now they're doing better, but we're bitter about it because we don't believe that they're sincere. Listen, if I went to the bank and said, hey, I want to buy this property, I need $150,000 to buy this property, and the bank manager looked at me and said, well, I don't want to give you $150,000, but here you go. You think I'm going to throw the check back at him and be like, oh, well, you didn't want to give it to me. I don't give a shit. This is what I need to do what I need to do. I don't care what your feelings are about it. So it doesn't matter to me if the NFL is sincere or not. Jay-Z came in, he did something, he facilitated something, and an action happened. Kaepernick never took action, and if we really want to be real, he's being selfish because he made it all about him. Because after the first couple of years, from 2018 up until now, it's been all about Kaepernick and him not having a job. And then he went and sued the NFL, got a settlement, which they, of course they signed an NDA, they won't say, but, sources close said that it is a high settlement, possibly $100 million plus settlement, somewhere in that range. So you got your money, but you're still making it about you and claiming that, I still want to play in the NFL. Bruh, it's 6 years later. Even if he was in NFL, he'd have been done by now. Let's be real.
Let me ask you this, B-Dub. Do you think the NFL should have fired Cap behind his kneeling? You think they should have fired him?
No, I don't. But I also understand real life too. I can't go to my job.
I agree. I agree.
People talk about First Amendment rights. Even in the video, he talked about First Amendment rights. Well, you don't have First Amendment rights at a company because you sign a contract. You fill out an application saying, "Hey, I want to work here, and I agree to uphold the policies and whatever company it is. Don't matter if it's NFL or whatever. Whether it's a personal business, it's a government business. It doesn't matter. You can't just go around slamming the company you work for and talking bad about them. That goes against the company policy. So, and then, did he really get fired? Let's talk about that. Did he really get fired or did he get cut? And because of what he's doing and because he's bringing so much attention on himself, teams are just stepping away like, I don't need this right now. Because no team wants scandal. No team wants disruption. Like, we're trying to win games. We need cohesiveness. We need everybody on the same page, and we can't have the team on the same page and be cohesive and try to go win a championship if we got one guy that's creating a distraction every week. Every week, I got to go out there as a head coach, and I'm supposed to be talking about my team and how we're going to do good, but all the reporters is asking me about Kaepernick.
Right.
The other guys are going out there, they trying to build their careers and build their brands and do what they need to do for themselves, but everybody's asking questions about Kaepernick. So, did he really get blackballed? Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I say, yeah.
Yeah, he got blackballed. Yeah,
but do we know that for a fact? Is that really the case? Because we feel that way. Does that mean that's what really happened?
When he got blackballed, though, there at that time, there was a bunch of teams. They were looking for a backup quarterback. And Cap was way better than half of the starting quarterbacks.
1,000%.
Right.
From the first time it happened for like the first 3 years.
Go ahead.
For the first 3 years that he was out of the league, he was absolutely better than at least half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
We talking about what comes along with that.
Right.
So
right.
If I take a chance on you, how does that affect the team? That could negatively impact my team, which would negatively impact my money.
Right. I agree with that.
The NFL is a business. Football is a game. The NFL is a business.
Right.
And you could potentially hurt my business.
Right.
So we gotta we have to look at it honestly and say, okay, we feel like that's what it was. We feel like he was blackballed, but was it really that, or was it the fact that because he never tried to compromise at all, he was just too hot for these teams to take a chance on. It was too much of a disturbance.
Right.
That could be plausible.
Right. EQ. Let me ask you this question, EQ. Do you think that Cap should have got blackballed? He should have kept his job, or you think he should have, with his antics that he did, that it was, or they should have cut him and he should have, never got his job back in the league? B, EQ, your mic is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all know it's about that time. Y'all know. No, he shouldn't have been blackballed. But you signed that contract, and it goes back to what B-Dub said. You signed a contract to play by the rules of that company or that organization, and whether you have a freedom of expression or whatever, at the end of the day, your name is signed on that dotted line. So if this organization or this company says, hey, don't do that, don't bring the negative attention, or whatever, then hey, and you do that because you're trying to make a statement or you're trying to make a point. There was other ways to protest police brutality. That could have been handled totally different. But then it was a level of defiance there too. So, I mean, he kind of put himself out there for that, for whatever happened to him. So it's his fault. I mean, I'm sorry, it is. Because when you signed up to work in the NFL, when you working for Massa, you got to play by Massa's rule. And one thing you don't do is disrespect Massa's country or his flag or whatever. That's just what it is. They love their America, the land of the home of the free and the brave, the stolen land at that. But hey, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's theirs, but it's stolen. The hypocrisy. But no, he shouldn't have been blackballed. But again, sometimes we have to really think about what we're doing. Right. It's like I said, it's just a time and a place for all things. I hate that the brother, didn't get to, finish playing his career or whatever. But he brought this one on himself.
Yeah. Okay. We got one more video. Is this Marcellus Wiley? He's talking about. You
had your video. I need my video. Talk to him, Mar.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and talk. We're gonna go ahead and put this Marcel Wiley video up, and then we're gonna wrap it up. All right, EQ.
One, Jay-Z told you what he thinks of Kaepernick truly through his actions. As he said, we're beyond kneeling. I'm going to take this baton from you as you're kneeling and now translate this into the two things that are most important in this whole conversation, which is the money and the power that can give the resources back to those who are underprivileged, underserved, and voiceless. And I think that's been lost right now because of Kaepernick and the gestures that him and Eric Reed and Nessa are all following. Here's the thing. Jay-Z is smart. You don't become Marcy Projects to billionaire and not be smart and have your spidey sense that can read this. Jay-Z waited long enough and finally said, I got to step past this dude to get this right. This is an identity issue. You know why the identity of this movement has been lost? You know why the identity has been lost in this platform of kneeling, and what does it really mean? Because the identity of those who are leading it has always been in question. Let's keep it 1,000 up here, because my past is hot. My past has expired for this. Kaepernick comes from a situation where he's never felt the full weight of these injustices. This is a mixed race guy who was raised by a white family from Wisconsin to Central California. Respect. That does not disqualify you from talking for us. But when you make missteps and miscalculations, it comes back into play. And he never spoke on this when Black Lives Matter's movement was at its height. Think about it. 2013, 2014, Ferguson, when Jay-Z is bailing prisoners out and doing protesters out and taking pictures and supporting Trayvon Martin and that family. What was Kaepernick? You know who he was? Taking his shirt off, bruh. I knew Kaepernick back then. He was never talking about this. He meets Nessa 2015, all of a sudden 2016, he gets benched. Flip-flop. Not mad, that still doesn't disqualify you. But Nessa comes into play now. And we all know Nessa. Respect to her and her ethnicity, but it's not black. Okay? So now we got two leaders who don't even feel the weight of the consequences. So guess what you are allowed to do right now?
Preach.
Have convenience.
Brother Marcellus Wiley. Brother Marcellus Wiley. He had some great points there. Yeah, he was definitely had some great points when he was talking there. So
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You know,
yes, sir.
I agree. I agree with him. You know, where was he? Where was Kaepernick during all those times? He's right. He's right.
You know where Kaepernick was at, EQ? He was clean shaved, no beard, had the close cut, and he was, strong and whatever, and tapping into all of his whiteness. Then
so he didn't want to tap into
No. This is after he got benched, after he decided to take a knee and do all that. Now all of a sudden, now we growing the fro out, now we growing the beard out, now we rocking the braids and wearing the Black Panther outfits, and so yeah, I can't.
He pretended. You saying he's not really full. He's not full of that action. Then B-Dub, what you're saying, right?
Listen, like I said before, and I always say this. I'm proud of what he did. I'm glad for what he did. I'm glad that he took a stand and started something, because there eventually was a result that came from it. And I feel like we are nudging in the right direction. So he must always get that credit for that. But now he's out of it and he can't handle it. Now he's being selfish. He's trying to make everything about him. And it's not like we got the result, but you mad because you didn't get the result. But it's because you don't know how to compromise and work the system. See, we think we're supposed to go in there and bully our way, and then we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna kneel until this. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. You need somebody that understands both sides, that understands the black perspective, the street perspective, and the business perspective, to say, hey, listen,
right.
This is what's going on, and this is what fundamentally needs to change. And here's how y'all can show, if you really want to do better, here's how you show that you want to do better.
Right.
And here's what I can do for you to kind of help on your side. And that's what Jay did, and that's what we got. So now we have, Jay's like, listen, hold up. Y'all do a whole month for breast cancer awareness. Y'all do a whole month for salute to the military. And then, you do the my cause, my cleats or whatever, but you trying to tell these guys what causes they can and can't support. Like, no, that's a no-no. Okay, that got changed. Now you can support whatever cause you want. They even took it a step further, and you can put it on the back of your helmet year-round if you want to. Okay, cool. They committed $100 million to social justice organizations and underserved, underprivileged communities. Like Jay said, what are we looking at? We're looking at millions of people's lives being positively affected versus one guy who don't have a job. And who's to say if Kaepernick kept playing, who's to say he wouldn't have got hurt and been out of the league anyway? Who's to say that he wouldn't have been trashed anyway? Because when Kaepernick came into the league, he was LeBron. He was something nobody ever seen before. He took his team to the Super Bowl on his back, because that 49ers team was not that great outside of the defense. They had a great defense. Their offense was not really that great. He put that offense on his back and took them all the way to the Super Bowl and almost won it. But see, what happens in the NFL after a year or two, just like the Wildcat, just like all this, everything that just came new into the NFL where teams have brought it in and dominated for one season, after you get a couple of seasons of film, it's like, oh, okay, we got this dude now. We see what he do.
Yeah.
That's why he started to decline. That's why he got benched. He didn't get benched for kneeling. He got benched because he wasn't getting the job done anymore. Then he started. Well, first he started sitting. Then he went from sitting to kneeling. Now, so it's like now you all of a sudden Huey P. Newton. Like, I don't know about that, bro. I can't. You do what you do, whatever. That's cool. But and I still give him credit for what he started, and I'm always give him credit for what he started. But now it's like I can't go on somewhere.
Well, I think the NFL players looked at it like this, B-Dub, okay? And I'm see if I can put this together the best way I know how to put it together. Marcellus Wallace talked about people leading the charge, all right? And the NFL players look at it like this. You have the house Negro trying to solve field Negroes' problems, all right? You got the house Negro that used to be a field Negro because Jay-Z, before he became billionaire Jay-Z, he was in the field. Am I correct or wrong? Right or wrong? All right. So now he's introduced into the big house, and he is taking on a different set of skill sets, and he's becoming a favorite house Negro, and he's eating the good food and so on and so forth or whatever. The field Negroes that's behind. They got a lot of issues going on. And now you tell the house Negro that used to be in the field to go out there and handle those field Negroes. I think a lot of these players look at it like, hey, listen, you in the house, we out here in the field. You don't know how you used to be from that cloth, but you don't know exactly what's going on now because the cloth, this field has definitely changed. And we can't listen to you or whatever. You know what I mean? They got a problem with that. That's how it comes off to me.
Yeah, I get that. But see, the problem is Jay-Z ain't no house Negro. Jay-Z is Django. That's what we not understanding. Jay-Z, because he wasn't given nothing. And that proves my point. Like what I'm saying. He did come from the field, but he didn't go into the big house. He built his own big house. You get what I'm saying? Like So, I can't really say that. If it was a situation where he just was handed everything and just did, because listen, if you follow Jay-Z's musical history, even all the way back to Reasonable Doubt, everything that he does musically is about elevation and getting away from this and going into this, and using that business skill in a different type of business.
Right.
So I can't look at him like that. Nobody gave Jay-Z nothing. Him and Dame fought tooth and nail and created everything that they created. And then even when Dame didn't want to let go of that mentality or that side, Dame wanted to do it his way always, and that's cool. Dame, I'm quite sure he's happy with his life and he's doing well for himself. But Jay-Z just understood business, and he understood it in a different kind of way. To like, okay, you have to know how to navigate certain situations. You can't. There's a time to bully your way, and then there's a time to finesse your way. And that's what Jay understood that Dame didn't understood. Dame is full bully mode 24/7. Jay-Z understood that, sometimes you got to go bully mode, sometimes you got to finesse, right? So I can't, I wouldn't call him a house Negro. Like he really literally just bought he went from a field Negro to a free Negro. Really. That's why I say he more Django than a house Negro. But I get what you're saying. To your point, you're probably right. They probably do look at him that way. That's why they have that perception, because they don't understand.
But when you get into billionaire status, B-Dub, that's why they call it filthy rich. You got to do some filthy stuff to get to billionaire status. You know what I mean? You got to. But you know what? Some people. You got to get up there, brother. Hey, you just don't get that money. Just
General Mills.
Yeah.
Ford, Chevy,
all of them.
Hennessy.
Yep.
There's
the Rothschilds, all of them.
Okay, but why are we so critical of Jay-Z? If that's the game, if that's how it go like that for everybody.
Right.
Why are we so critical of our own? Because he learned how to play the game. This is what we're talking about. The game is for everybody. The game is not racial.
Right.
That's one of the biggest things that hold black people down is we don't get that part.
Right.
The game, we think the game is for others. So therefore, when one of us learn how to play the game, we take on the assumption that, oh, you're a token, oh, you with them white people, or you
Well,
with them
you
white
think-
people. No,
But-
they
but
just
you-
learn the game.
I understand that, but you would think that if just because you know the game, you know, that you wouldn't be so harsh. Because sometimes our own people are harder on us than non-melanated people are. And that's where the problem comes in at, because you be like, you know what, you were in my place at one point. You came
No,
up
because
you came
I'ma
up
tell
with
you
something
why.
like I did, but now that you got something, and you know now you are, you know, it seems like you are more harder on me than the non-melanated person is. I think that's where the problem comes in at when it comes to, you know, some of these millionaire,
disagree.
billionaire black people.
I disagree, because there's got to be a line somewhere. There's got to be a line somewhere. That's like, okay, if me and you work at the same job, and I say, Mr. Know-it-all, man, listen, I need you to take me to work or whatever, but I stay out the way. Like, you got to go out of your way to come get me to bring me to work, and I don't give you no gas money. And you don't like people eating in your car, but I'm eating in your car. I don't offer you no gas money, and you just steady going out of your way to help me out, and I'm not reciprocating or showing any type. At a certain point, you can be like, bro, you got to find another ride to work. You can't. You're not gonna. And so that's the thing. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can only do so much.
Right.
Like, I'm showing you, I'm showing you in my music. I'm showing you in how I move in business. I'm showing you. I'm giving you he literally put out an album called The Blueprint, and he's been giving people the blueprint for years.
Right.
From the music into the clothes, into the liquor, into sports, he's been constantly elevating and showing people the blueprint of how to get where he at. And we just sitting back watching it happen and criticizing because he's not coming back giving handouts.
Mm-hmm.
He taught Kanye how to be a billionaire. Now Kanye got more billions than Jay. He taught Rihanna how to be a billionaire. She close about to have more billions than Jay, and he's happy for that.
Right. But I'm not.
So it's not like people are not learning. It's just the majority of us don't, because we think that the game is racial. We think that it's not for us, and we're not supposed to do certain things or move in certain ways. But the money game is just the money game. Anybody can play it. You just got to learn the rules.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. It is definitely a money game. You have to agree with the rules. So I definitely agree with that. So I you won't. I won't even get into no debate and no argument, disagree about that one. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to close the show tonight.
Yeah, because I'm out of Cuervo.
Yeah. Oh, you got a Cuervo. I know EQ just made it in, and she kind of be cute. She get ready to be like, hold on now, let's get ready to rock.
Look, I've been logged off. That 5:30 come quick. Shoot.
Yeah. Anybody got any more last opening remarks before we go ahead and close this episode 16 out?
The money game is for everybody. Understand it. The money game is for everybody, and don't hate on people because they know the rules and you don't.
Yeah. Yep. EQ, you got something?
All love, baby. That's all.
Already. Yeah, so that and B Dub said it again. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat what he said for Brandon Coles giving you the bag moment. It is the Brandon Coles of the money game. It is a game, and you definitely gotta, especially if you know how to do it, you'll definitely be successful in it. But don't let money make you. Please don't let it do it. All right. So before we close the show tonight, we definitely gonna say thank you guys for joining the Brandon Coles podcast. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you go to YouTube, Facebook, and we on all other social media platforms as well. And we want to say again, Miss Queen, we thank you for your services as well, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And we thank you for everything that you've done to be on the show as well. Gentleman Jamal, I know you're probably watching, my friend. Enjoy yourself out there at Mount Rushmore. EQ, I know you're gonna have something to say about that, right?
He ain't in no Mount Rushmore. He lying. He in Oak Cliff. He up in Oak Cliff over there at Rudy's Chicken. He playing. Have fun, gentlemen. Jamal. Be careful.
Right. So we
enjoy that Cowboys win. You ain't gonna get many more of those.
So join us for next Tuesday as we discuss the rap industry. We are losing a lot of our rappers, and a lot of our young folks are dying in gun violence. So you definitely don't want to miss Tuesday episode at 8:00. I am Mr. Know-It-All. We got Bougie Weirdo, B-Dub, and Educated Queen. We will see you Tuesday as well. Have a blessed one. Good night.